So I think you've started quite a thing, Patrick, with showing up naked on your news feed. You're not going to get away from that now.
I thought everybody could use a little giggle, a little shock.
But now people are like, "Hey, why have you got clothes on?"
They're astonished now when I have clothes on. It's like,
Exactly. They're disappointed, I think.
awesome.
Okay, this should take us live very soon.
Cool.
Yep. Here we are. I think we are live. Okay. Hey everyone, Michelle, Business Acceleration Coach here with the amazing Patrick Cook today. Patrick is a fellow coach. He's amazing. Patrick and I trained together in some pretty intense training with the amazing Anel Vesta, and boy, it was a life changer, eh, Patrick? Pretty awesome.
Absolute life changer. Yep.
So Patrick himself is a creative. He's actually a very talented and quite famous musician. If you're following him, then you'll know his singing is absolutely amazing and brightening all of our days at the moment. But he's actually a coach, and he helps not only other creatives, but especially good with creatives. He helps people to get away from the grips of alcohol. So not necessarily alcoholism, but the grip that alcohol has on your life. And I thought it would be a really great time to talk about this. And Patrick and I had a little bit of a chat before we got on. In New Zealand here, there was pictures of people staggering out of the liquor shops, with arms full of hard liquor, because they're like, oh my God, I can't actually deal with listening to myself and my own thoughts and my own soul for a month. And that's a terrible way to be in. And I'm not going to judge you for it, because I've been there before, and so is Patrick, so there's never any judgment here. But the thing is if you're drunk all the time, or even just some of the time, you can't hear what your soul's telling you. And there's nothing wrong, with alcohol per se, but it's that it's dulling you. It's what it's doing to your body. It's the damage that it's doing psychologically and to your body. And being able to hear your own spirit talk to you, whisper to you, tell you what you're here to do in the world is freaking amazing. So much better than alcohol, trust me. Hey, Patrick, was a way better high than any alcohol or any drug's going to give you. I don't really have that much experience with drugs, but I imagine that, yeah. So Patrick and I thought that we would, so if you get to halfway through the lockdown and you discover you're out of alcohol and you start listening to your soul, I celebrate that for you. And if you get into trouble, talk to Patrick.
Yes.
He'll help you through it. I thought that we'd talk a little bit about the energy at this time and kind of what's going on. So for me, Patrick, I've been banging on about it since the beginning of the year. Holy shit, this year's going to be a big one. I can feel the energy. Like as soon as we clicked over into 2020, the energy that hit me was like a freight train. I was like, far out. I wonder if anyone else is feeling this. Like it feels massive. And even when I talk about it, it feels too big for my body to contain, and maybe that's the point. Maybe our souls are breaking free and it's not meant to be contained. What are you feeling at the moment?
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot of elevated energy. Yeah, a lot of heaviness, a lot of fear. For me, it's everything is being amplified. So whatever's going on in your life is going to be amplified right now. And if that means you were, numbing out with alcohol, you're going to go down that road of, okay, more alcohol. But for some other people, if you're on the path of self-development, this is a perfect time to really dive in and start, doing the hard work. So everything is getting elevated to a point of crisis. So it's a good time to check in with yourself. Like you said earlier, a lot of people are struggling, a lot of people are suffering, and a lot of people are going to die, which is unfortunate. But I think on the grand scale of things, this is exactly what humanity needs: to take a pause from our busy lives, from the chaos, from the unsustainable practices that we've been, doing for 100 years now. We're killing ourselves. We're killing the earth. And it can't continue. And something massive has got to change. And for me, it's just like the earth is, here it is, slow down, be by yourself, figure your stuff out, And so for me, it's a massive opportunity.
Yeah, and start reconnecting with nature.
Yeah.
And I mean, China, apparently you couldn't see it from the satellites. It was just all too much smog. Now you can see it. How amazing for the earth. She must be going, oh, thank Christ for this, She can actually breathe. That we were smothering her was absolutely terrible, but that we have the opportunity to go out and now connect with nature. I mean, even going outside and hugging a tree in your backyard, you know,
Yeah.
you've got time to do that. How often did you sit at home and go, oh God, I wish I had time to ground myself on the grass, or I wish I had time to do such and such? Well, your wish came true, darling. You really did what you wished for, because it comes true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So some of the things that I'm helping my clients to do at the moment is to kind of detach from the collective energy, if you like, because the collective energy at the moment, like you said, feels really scary and heavy. And I used to practice quite a lot, expanding my consciousness to see what was going on out in the world. And when I do that now, it's frightening. I literally want to run away screaming. So I'm just not, you know, I'm really keeping to myself. And in your group and in my group, even though my group is a business group, I only work with women that are here to change the world. So a lot of them are empaths, and just naturally their consciousness is out in the world, and it's just too hard at the moment. Like, you've got to actually keep your energy a little bit closer to you. So instead of checking in with the world, how's the world going? How about checking in with your body? Hey body, what do you need right now? You know, is it some fresh fruit? Is it some fresh water? Naked sunbathing for Patrick.
That's what my body needed at that moment. I'm like, I need vitamin D.
Just pull my blind. Hang on a second. But seriously, you know, giving your body exactly what it needs right now is perfect.
Yeah, and really tuning in, and for some people it might be the first time, you know, where they've actually started listening to their body, and that again is scary, you know, because if you're addicted to that distracted, chaotic life where you're just busy all the time and you never sit still, sitting still can be the most terrifying thing. You know, because you're alone with your thoughts, you're alone with your emotions, you're alone with your body sensations, and you're being forced to listen, whether you like it or not. And so a lot of people want to run away from that because it represents the unknown, and it's confusing and it's scary. But if we can summon the courage, and this is why this is so important right now, each of us have an opportunity on an individual level to contribute what's going to happen next in the world. And so if we're stuck in this phase of fear and contraction and just going to the liquor store and loading up, like, that's not going to be helpful. That's going to drive us down the path to, because there's a couple of different ways this can end up. You know, it can go really badly, obviously. But in my opinion, there's a massive opportunity for it to go beautifully, for us to up level as a species, as a consciousness. And so how that looks on an individual level is like each person has to do the work themselves, which means sitting in the discomfort. It means sitting in the stillness where they may not be, you know, maybe they've not been there before. And that is scary for a lot of people. But if we can each on an individual level summon the courage to move through that discomfort and figure out what's on the other side, start listening to your body. Does it need more water, more nutrients? Does it need more exercise? You know, what about your mental state? Do you need more stillness, or whatever it is for you? Start listening, because the more you can embody, you know, you can be more healthy on a physical, mental state. You can more pursue your purpose and your unique gifts, and that contributes to the collective on how we're going to get through this crisis and usher in a new paradigm. That's how I feel about it.
What can a person do? Like, if you're wandering through your own backyard and it's feeling really nice, and then you all of a sudden you get a feeling or a tingling, which is generally your soul's got something to tell you, right? So you kind of start to feel some feelings, and then you're like, oh, hell no, suddenly I feel like a whine. What can a person do instead? Yeah,
that's a great question. Just, you know, again, practicing moving through that discomfort, because it's a trigger, right? And so allowing the feeling to be there. Typically it's fear or some emotional wound or anxiety or stress. It's something you want to not deal with. You just want to push it away. And so again, it's going to sort of summoning the courage to just allow it to be there and get curious about it. You know, you can make it not like, oh, it's scary, I need to push it away. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Look at that. There's that feeling, and I'm kind of getting a tightness in my chest, you know? And so you can almost play a game with it where it's curious. You get curious about it. And, you know, for me, maybe taking a few deep breaths and just saying, oh my God, there's that anxiety again. Like, I wonder where that's coming from. You know, like before there was no gap between here's the stimulus, anxiety, and pour myself a drink. There was like zero gap. And so what being in stillness or meditation or journaling allows us to do is open that gap. where, okay, here's the stimulus of, something happens where I'm triggered into stress or fear and anxiety, but here's my reaction. And in that space, it's uncomfortable. But if you can sort of learn to lean into that space and trust it and just be curious about what's coming up, then you can make another conscious decision. It's like, you know what? I don't really want that wine or that beer. It's just, I was feeling a little tense. Maybe I need to, move my body. Maybe I need to call a friend. Maybe I need to exercise. And so that urge will dissipate if you open that gap far enough, right? And so it's just taking a deep breath is a great way to start, a couple of deep breaths consciously, and just allow what's ever there to be there, and that can be super challenging, I know, which is why doing it in a group in support is super valuable.
Yeah, I know that I remember when I was doing a job that I thought I loved, and it was certainly going some way towards serving my sole purpose, but it wasn't really what I was supposed to be doing. And I was trying to, so I'd work all day long and not think about it, right? Because I was busy working. But the minute I was home, I'd be like, oh, I need a wine. And that was a period of my life when I was drinking more than what I wanted to be drinking, like it was hurting my body. My body didn't feel great. And I knew subconsciously that I was trying to dull it down. And that's exactly what I did. I was like, okay, so your instant trigger is you want a glass of wine. So my first step towards that was just saying, why do you want a glass of wine, Michelle?
Yeah.
Why? And then I would drop down into it. And I think what scares a lot of people that haven't gone through that process and stopped doing that and started listening to themselves. I'm like, but what if I open a fucking can of whoopee? Like, what about if it tells me that I should leave my husband, or, I was like, la, 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 I don't want to listen. But the really good news is that things happen for you. Nothing actually happens to you. Like, I honestly thought that my soul was going to tell me, leave your husband. I really did. And I was afraid of that because financially, looking after a child on my own, everything I'd built, I was afraid of it. But it's not what soul wanted to tell me at all, actually.
No.
So I was just being scared for no reason. But I just decided that feeling at that horrible place of drinking too much, hurting my body, honestly feeling like I'd rather be dead than alive if I had to really think about it. I was like, I can't carry on like this. I'm either going to die or I'm going to morph. I was like, okay, Michelle, we're going to morph, right? Because dying's not an option. So that's what I did. Eventually it got bad enough, that I was like, well, make a decision. And then out the other side, bliss. So I think that's a message I want to tell you. If your soul is talking to you, if your job is killing you, if your relation, or you think your relationship is killing you, just listen, please, because whatever's you're going to find out it's going to be for everyone's long-term benefit. I promise you.
Yes.
And it's actually not that painful. When you listen to the messages, you're like, oh, is that all?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not necessarily as scary as you think it is, or it can be, just a feeling that might shift your trajectory a little bit. And then once you start going down that path, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Well, this isn't serving me anymore. This isn't serving me anymore. And you can sort of start to discern. You don't have to go out and burn all the bridges and divorce your husband and quit your job all at the same time. You can do it in just little increments where it's like, oh, okay, well, this doesn't feel great. Maybe I should try this. Oh, this feels better. It's more in alignment. And so you start to make little changes, and then the rest of your external world will start to match what you are feeling on the inside, right?
Yeah, things just fall away naturally. Like the things that aren't working for you naturally fall away, and the other things fall in. Like it doesn't even take any effort. It's actually just once you have the right intention, things become really easy. People are like, oh, but I don't have the energy to get a new job, or I don't have the energy to do this. So, well, don't worry, it'll come to you. Once you have the right intention, everything just flows. It's not even hard to do anymore.
Exactly. I refer to it as alignment. When you come into alignment with yourself and you have like that knowing, trusting feeling within your body, then everything else starts to come with ease. The effort, the struggle, the urgency, the stress just dissipates. And then that's not to say you won't have stress or anxiety in your life. Of course, everybody does, but how you manage it will be completely different, because you're not triggered into, oh, okay, now I have to have a drink. I have to escape. I have to do whatever it is. It's like, okay, I'm in alignment. I can manage anything that comes at me now, without having to numb out.
Yeah. And one thing that I discovered much later on that I wish I'd known at the time when I was going through this was that different parts of your body have different messages for you. So if you drop into your body and you feel sensations in different parts, now this is pretty generalized, but it would have been quite helpful for me, is that if you're feeling any kind of sensation. So it might be light or heavy or thick or soft or fluid, or, you know, it doesn't matter what the sensation is. But if it's in your throat area, it's generally something to do with anger. So you feel that boundaries are being transgressed, or something has irritated you, or, you know, something needs to be said. So if you're feeling something there, that's generally what it is. If you're feeling something in your heart space, in your chest, it's generally that you've moved away from something. So you're missing something. Have you moved away from your creativity, or are you distanced from a loved one? And then your stomach is always fear. But and people, I think, try to squash fear, especially right now, right? Squash it with a glass of wine, don't think about it. But actually, emotions aren't nasty. Emotions are our friends. Emotions, all they are, just like a hormone is a chemical messenger for the body, and emotion is a feeling messenger for your life. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
Just ask what the fear is telling you. Maybe it's telling you that you're fearful that you won't have enough money. So you're like, cool, what should I do about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I say our emotions are part of our guidance system, our internal guidance system. They're there to help us. And so there's no such thing as a negative emotion. They're all there to guide us. And so if we are feeling anxiety or stress or shame, those are indications that something is out of alignment that needs our attention. And when we do feel good, like joy or happiness or fulfillment, it's like, oh, okay, I'm in alignment with, so these things are good, you know? So it's just, we don't want to push away fear or guilt or shame. We just want to be in them and listen to them. Like I was saying earlier, when those things come up, you need to allow them to be there. It's like, because like you said, there's wisdom, you know, but you have to let the emotion flow through you in order to distill the wisdom. If you're pushing it away with alcohol or distraction or busy lives or whatever, you'll never find that wisdom, and the fear will just stay there and get worse, right? But if you can start listening to your body, like we're talking about now with all these people off of work, they might have to listen to their body and their emotions for the first time. And so all this latent fear is coming to the surface, and they're overwhelmed and they're scared. And I get it, you know, like I was there. All of us have been there on a certain level. But the more you can sort of just summon the courage to be there with it, just allow it to come up and even look at it, you know, with curiosity, with love, like put on your little headlamp and go diving in the caves, you know, make it sort of a curious, fun thing, not like a scary beast, you know? So, but once you allow that emotion to move through you, what remains is the wisdom. Yeah. It's the message that the emotion was there to impart to us in the first place. So it does take courage, and it does take, you know, leaping into the unknown, but it's so, so worth it.
Great. And Patrick, if people want to join your group, how do they get in contact with you?
Yeah. So I've got an application form. The best thing to do is just message me directly at Patrick Cooke Life is my Instagram, or Patrick Cooke, COOKE on Facebook. I'm actually building a brand new masterclass for my Reset 2020 program right now. So it should be out in the next few days. So that will be absolutely free if you want to check that out, just to feel my energy and get some real strategy on how I structure my transformation for myself and for my clients. It's going to be a free class. So I'll happily share that in your group, Michelle. But at the moment, that's not live. It should be in the next couple of days. So if you want to reach out, just message me directly. Yeah, on Instagram or Facebook.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Patrick, for chatting with me. It's so lovely to see you. I really do miss you. We need to chat more often.
Absolutely.
All right, I look forward to seeing your
song to chat with you again. You're doing such amazing work in the world, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, bye, darling.
All right, have a wonderful day. Bye.